I feel as if there's someone somewhere is waiting for you to get in position. All right. There's someone somewhere. So if I hadn't have gotten the help that I needed and the people that I needed and kept going, I wouldn't even be in this situation now. So I'm challenging all of you to that if you don't work to become who you're supposed to become, then the person's path that you're supposed to cross that will help them become who they're supposed to be will never happen. That's how we change this thing. That's how we impact the world, is that you got to get in position first, right? You got to get, recognize your gifts and your power so that when you get in that position, all you have to do is be able to pay it forward and inspire those and other people around you.
All right, man. Stats Global Podcast. We are back for another episode, man. I am here with the man with the plan, man. I'm here with the guy that is, I'm going to say, responsible for my progress, my success that I have currently, with where I am today, with everything that I have going on. Met this guy through what I love. It's called basketball, right? So I met him dealing with basketball. As I told y'all before, basketball has shaped my life completely because it's been able to put me in positions and rooms with people that have changed my life for the better and all the way around. So 4 years ago, met him through a mutual friend at the SFP All-Star Weekend that happens every year that we're both a part of every year. Definitely shout out Crane up there in Richmond, VA, coming to an episode soon. But definitely met him through that, but to get us through the game of basketball. And from there, man, my life has went from good to great, and it's going to continue to get better each and every day, and I've been able to stay connected. So I call this guy right here my coach, my mentor. Anybody I talk to that doesn't know who he is, I say my mentor. If they know who I am, it's Coach Brooks. I mean, if they know who he is, I'll tell them Coach Brooks. But again, man, great, phenomenal person to be around, all the way around. So yeah, but without further ado, man, I'm here with Coach Daniel Brooks. And I'll let him go ahead and let y'all know who he is and what he does.
Again, that intro and that acknowledgement always means a lot, right? Like you've been around for a while, and I appreciate you more than you know. But again, Coach Daniel Brooks, I'm a licensed clinical social worker who been through a lot of stuff in my life. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of challenges. But one day I realized a way that I can make those challenges, what I learned from those challenges, be able to help other people. So I created this thing called Motivate the Game about 5 years ago, where we mix sports training, therapy, and cognitive development all into one melting pot of helping people, because I saw that individuals weren't going to therapy, individuals weren't getting the support they needed because therapy looked a certain way. So why make it cookie cutter when people's problems aren't cookie cutter? So I created this thing, and now we've been rocking for 5 years. Got a chance to cross paths with you, and you've been a part of the growth and different facets of kind of what we do. I'm excited to come back. Last podcast, I guess the universe wasn't ready for that one to come out, so I'm excited to be back now, and thankful for this opportunity.
Oh, yeah, I love it. So just the background, I am a part of Motivate the Game as a certified mental health coach. He has awarded me that opportunity, which is the phenomenal opportunity where I'm able to go out and be a part of my gift, my passion, and what I love, which is impacting the youth. So we've been able to go all across the country and go to different schools and work with different teams at all levels, college, high school, middle school, just to impact the youth, again, with the focus being mental health and different ways to incorporate that into your life. And I'm more than blessed to be a part of that and have that opportunity, because, he didn't have to allow me that opportunity. But it started a journey of being my mental health therapist to transitioning from that to being a, like I said, a mentor, and being able to go from therapist to, just life coach. I would say life coach now, because that is just a phone call away. Hey, coach, this is what's going on in my life. Hey, coach, what's the next thing we doing business-wise? Hey, coach, this is what I have going on. This is my idea. Can we do it? Or what you think I should do? Or, you know what I'm saying, what route you think I should take? So any aspect of my life, I'm able to call him and talk to him about that. And I really, I cherish that, because it's really important. And,
Wow.
yeah. It's amazing, man. What he does is what I needed. and it helped me see why I wasn't able to excel as far as I needed to excel in basketball from playing high school to college. And then my dream was to play NBA, not WNBA, but my dream was to play in the NBA. However, the WNBA came around as I got older, and that was my dream, and it didn't happen. And now I'm able to realize why through Motivate the Game. So what it helped me to realize was that anxiety held me back because I always worried about the crowd and the people, and that the more people were in the room, the less of a person I became. I got smaller as a person, but now it's nothing can stop me. Like nothing can stop me. So if I had the opportunity again, I would bust through walls, man. Knowing what he's able to do and what I've been able to do, man.
Wow. And that's the phenomenal part is that a lot of times you end up going into the role of a helper of what you needed when you were younger. And that's one of the biggest things that the idea of Motivate the Game came from, is that, I knew the impact and the power that a coach had on my life, right? So thank God for those coaches and those individuals. But I started to realize that what if you don't play sports? What if you don't have that community? What if you don't have those individuals who have your best interests in mind? Or what if you're on a team who doesn't have a coach who's even recognizing you? So that's where this idea came from, is to be for others what I needed when I was younger. So it's phenomenal to hear that. But for you to be in this position to be able to now support and help as many young people and athletes as you've been able to. The whole goal in life is to pay it forward. And the more we can pay it forward, then the more we can help individuals get in better positions than we could ever imagine.
Yeah, man. Without Motivate the Game, listen, it doesn't matter. We heard how phenomenal it is, and you'll see and look on all social media anywhere out there. You'll see us coming to a city near you. I know for a fact.
You're on the way.
Coach is putting in the work, man, and we coming. So who is Coach Brooks though? Like who is Daniel Brooks? Like who are you?
Wow, that's a great question. I'm a helper. Right. First, I say that all the time. The only thing I'm good at is helping people. I was the awkward kid growing up. Had a lot of challenges, a lot of things like that, and I realized that my gift was to help others. I'm a husband, right? My amazing wife. I've been married now, coming up on 10 years. Can't believe it. I'm a father. I got an amazing 2-year-old. That's a role that I'm growing into. To be a fatherless father is tough, but I'm learning. I'm growing into that scenario, regardless of what my father did in the past, right, or why he wasn't in my life. It's still something that I didn't experience as a young man. So now learning to be that father for my son Jack. Shout out to you, baby. And then I'm growing into this role as well, so that's why I got to say it. I'm a boss, right? A boss in the aspect of being a leader, right? And helping individuals like yourself and other people become the best versions of themselves. I truly feel as if when you have a gift as a helper and you want to impact people, I think helping individuals to do that in the best way possible is a gift that I also have. So being able to lead individuals, not just by telling them what to do, but by doing it first and then reaching back and helping. Um, um, wow, that's a wonderful question. I've gone through a lot. I'm resilient. I've been diagnosed with my own ADHD, so working through that and working through my own setbacks, my own issues in my upbringing. But I think we all are, right? So I think resilient is another way that I would describe myself. And then I'm a creative. I'm innovative, right? My goal is to push the world of mental health further, right? By integrating sports even more, by coming up with new ideas, because I'm a firm believer that, you should meet people where they are, right? And truly meet people where they are. So young people, athletes and adults, by bringing the things that they love to them and incorporating mental health into it, I think that is probably the most innovative and creative thing that I think I've been able to learn how to do. And lastly, I'm a visionary, right? I feel as if I have a calling that God placed in my heart, and I'm just walking in that and walking through that and walking through my purpose and trying to lead the way to change this narrative of how people view mental health and the stigma surrounding it. So we're trying to make it approachable, make it cool, make it something that people want to be a part of, because I believe we all need a therapist. We all need someone to be able to lean on, because we all going through something.
Oh yeah, most definitely. We are definitely going through some things, man. Um, wow, wow. So a lot of what I feel like is important in life is like mindset and achieving and overcoming things. So like, what was your mindset to even one overcome like your childhood things and get to the point where you are now, and two, your mindset with getting motivated to game started.
That's a great question. So, a lot of my mindset from my childhood and surviving a lot of things I went through came a lot from my church and my faith. My grandparents had us in church every other day. I swear we was in there for some type of meeting, rehearsal, or church service all the time. So a lot of my mindset was developed through my faith, right, from an early age. And then from there, it started to develop into these principles. Here at Motivate the Game, we have what's called 8 plays of life, and I fell in love with quotes and principles and these easy to remember things when I was in tough situations. Because from a young age, I always thought, had this vision that life was going to be better, right? I wasn't going through this for any reason, and I realized if I had to go through it, then why not grow through it and become the best at it? So as a result, quotes and these plays of life became a part of my kind of mindset and developing these rules and principles that I kind of live by. So fast forward into kind of creating Motivate the Game. I just at the base level of it, I wanted to take all of the life lessons and life skills that you learn through sports and incorporate them into a training atmosphere. So I took those life lessons that you learn through sports and I put them into these plays of life. So that mindset developed into helping athletes to be, or wanting to help athletes to be able to make it through their stressors, because I'm a firm believer that, um, as I said earlier, we're all going through something. But if you can work on and process what you're going through currently, then when you face these future problems that are inevitable, we're always going to be facing something, then you don't have to work through what's going to happen in the future along with what happens in the past. So I call it concurrent growth. So we want to work with this and work through these issues and these stressors now, no matter how big or how little they may be. I'm a firm believer that whatever's happening now, if you can process and work through it, then whatever is waiting for you in the future, then you can attack that with your full strength. So these plays of life kind of were developed in this mindset of how can I help individuals be able to work through this. And then just on the tangible side, this thing started in a park, right? I had one athlete, shout out to Chris Martin, who it's a whole story of how we kind of crossed paths, but it was before COVID or right during COVID. I was working with this individual, and and I saw how COVID affected him. So I was just training him to play quarterback. Then before I knew it, I was like, I'm talking so much. There's so many life lessons and so many connections that I'm able to make. So we started to meet at a park. And then before you know it, this thing morphed from just meeting at a park with a couple athletes to where we are now, with a full training facility and 8 to 9 coaches that work with us. And we've been able to work with hundreds of athletes. So my early childhood resiliency and the things that I had to work through and overcome turned into my ability to continue to keep going, and thank God for the coaches and the mentors who were in my life, to now turning into plays of life that now we teach young people and athletes how to make it through what they're currently struggling with.
Powerful. So you have 8 plays of life. Those are all very important. Clearly, you've made them the plays of life and something that you incorporate into the actual business plan, your business, and with each athlete that you cross paths with that come in here, right? So what would you say you have a favorite, or which is the one that you find yourself kind of like resulting to as one that you kind of, replay over and over that kind of gets you through things?
I got a couple. So number one, The number one play, like the first one is if you have to do it, why not be great at it? Right? I'm a firm believer that no matter what you're doing, if it's something that you have to do that you can't change, then why not put forth your best effort? It's not about being greater or better than anyone else, but you know what type of effort you're putting in, right? If you're in a situation, then you got to treat that situation like it's the only thing that you have, right? Because it's hard to change your life. It's hard to change these situations. So if we can't change them, if it's hard, if it's taking time for you to go through this thing, then why not be great at whatever moment you're at? Now, it's a different type of mindset. It's hard to think that way. It's very difficult to kind of embody that. But if you can embody it where you are now, then when you get to the goal or to the destination that you're trying to get to, then you're not going to have to change your effort when you get there. You think, a lot of people think, just if I get to this point, I'm going to change who I am. No, you got to become that person before you ever get there. So then the next, yeah, this is tough because they're all so pivotal. The next one, I know, right. Control what I can control is a huge one. That's self-explanatory, but I think 95% of the people that I work with in therapy or with coaching, a lot of their issues are derived from things that they have no control over, or they're focusing on the things they don't have any control over. Where if we can get you to harness and hone your focus on the things you do have control over, then your life will get exponentially better just by focusing on what you do have control over. And then another of my favorite is gratitude over greatness. This is one that I came up with specifically for, primarily for athletes or individuals who have a lot of goals, is that we can get so caught up with chasing goals or chasing someone else telling us that we're great, or seeing greatness in us, that we can get caught up and recognize that even when you make it to this level of greatness or to this goal, it's still not going to satisfy you. I realize this in business, is that even the things that I prayed for, when I accomplish them, I don't even realize I've accomplished them. So this idea of greatness doesn't even really exist. But what I started to get individuals to recognize is to focus on moments that you can be grateful for. If you focus on chasing gratitude and being able to reflect on these moments that you reach and being grateful for them, then greatness will start to chase you. Right? So if you chase and you go after gratitude and being grateful for every opportunity that you get, then greatness becomes a byproduct of that. And you don't have to wait for someone else to tell you you're great. You're able to kind of work through it. And then lastly, love who loves you, right? That's number 8. Um, we can far too often focus on getting love or receiving love from people who don't love us or aren't showing us the attention that we need, that we will overlook the individuals who do care about us, right? And I see this so often in our society. Everyone's worried about the new person, the new coach, the new employee, the new opportunity, this new thing. When if you take a moment to love the thing or the person that's loving you, and then that's how more love will grow. So, focusing on loving who loves you. Those are kind of the top ones that we have, but we got the other 5 that all of them all work together, and they're primarily there for when situations get tough. Right, the plays of life aren't for when things are easy. It's when you get into tough situations, and I hope that by individuals learning these, then they can bring them to the forefront of their mind to be able to, like I did, use them to make it through tough situations.
That's amazing, man. To have that foundation that helped you get through tough times in life, to now that being the principal part of what you are doing to help others get through it, just to have that foundation. A lot of people are not able to put their finger on how, and being able to duplicate that right there is a duplication process, because like you said, not all of them are applicable to every day, all day, but when you're in certain situations, you can reflect on one of those plays of life that you have from being in a part of Motivate the Game. Like if you're an athlete, a part of Motivate the Game, a coach, if you're connected to Coach Brooks, I'm pretty sure he says those plays of life to just people that are not even a part of Motivate the Game at all. However, it is very impactful. Like I said early on, you work with me. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because, they always say success leaves breadcrumbs, but also hard times leave breadcrumbs, and hard situation leaves information. And if we can't take a moment to really learn the valuable lessons that come from tough situations, even if it's not our fault, even if it was a hard situation that we never thought we could make it through, you still learn some type of wisdom. So I feel as if instead of just going through all these hard situations in life, why not garner some type of wisdom for it and pass it on to the next person? Because I believe that if you've gone through something that someone else hasn't experienced, then that's a form of going back to the future, right? So meaning that if I've never experienced this thing and you already have experienced it in your life, so you come back in the past to me in my situation, help me with the information that you learned from that situation, and then now I'm able to be able to make it through this thing that much better. I think that's outside of inspiring each other, that's one of our duties as humans is to, if we go through something, we should be able to lift a helping hand or give information. It doesn't cost anything, to give that information to individuals who come after you, who may be experiencing a lot of things that you've already experienced, to be able to help them to make some different or better or just more informative decisions with the things that they experience
Oh
or
yeah.
are about to experience just by getting older.
That's wild, man. A lot of points you've made in the last few, moments have come full circle for me just in the last few interviews that I've been doing, because you mentioned leadership. And one of my previous interviews, me and a colleague of mine talked about leadership a lot, heavily on that specific episode, because that's something that we both strive to become the best leaders we can be. And that's something that was lacking in our specific fields. And it's just like a main pillar of our lives that was very important. Then you also spoke on information, like, passing information down and not being a gatekeeper, quote unquote, is what society says when you have information where it's charging people or, having them go through all kinds of hoops just to get information from you. But being able to freely give the information that you have that have helped you, again, if nobody paid for it, it'll come back to you full circle however you do it. But holding information on that can help somebody else transform their life is like you said, how more people should be just giving the information away. We're not saying give away your whole business plan, your whole, like, Chick-fil-A is not going to give you the recipe to their chicken sandwich. Now, there's probably a lot of, things that have come close to it, but they're not giving their recipe away because that's the main way they make their business and support their family. However, whatever they can do to help somebody, like, achieve great customer service like they have, that's something that everybody should want to have in their business. Like, they should want McDonald's to have better customer service, Burger King to have better, because the more competition, the better it is for your business. Like, no competition, it's kind of like no business for the most part. I mean,
Yeah.
depending on where you are.
And 1,000%, you should not be a gatekeeper with any of the information. But at the same time, just like you did, individuals should also be willing to invest in the information that they need, and that they want, and the information that someone has gone through. It's a very, very thin line of how to be a mentor and to provide information, but also be able to provide it to the individuals who are actually going to use it, right? So it's a very thin line, but don't be, to the listeners who are looking for mentors or looking for people to support them, don't be scared to pay for that information, right? Get the information and get into a community, get into some networks. But at the same time, if you're the individual who's given the information, be brave enough to and able to package it into, if you're going to charge for it, make sure you're packaging it into a way that is going to be worth and have that value for those individuals to be able to impact and to change their lives. That's why it makes me so excited that you've made the progress and working towards the things you're working towards, because I take pride in the individuals who are in my life that, I want you to be a better version of yourself. I want you to get better. Everybody's who connected to Motivate the Game. If you're not getting better, then I'm not, right? And I feel responsible for those things when I'm connected to anybody.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, mentorship is what should happen. Like you said, giving away information for free. No, being able to charge for it. Yes, being able to package it is a skill set that should be obtained, because that's a business. If you're packaging and saying you need to pay me for giving you this information, that means that you are now in business and you should know how to conduct business properly.
Absolutely.
However, we also want to prior episode when we were talking about that thin line that you mentioned, the mentorship is more like if we're talking, have a conversation and able to just, just have the conversation freely, cool. That's the free game. That's the, say take advantage of the opportunity. But if I need to spend one-on-one time with you and it's consistent and it's all the time, then that becomes one of those things where if the mentor says, hey, this is going to cost you for my one-on-one time, my individual time, my specific time allotted for you, then that's when it costs. Whether it's a business or not, it's still going to cost you my time because, again, this information you obtain, you have a life, you have things that you're doing. So, I mean, that is
game
powerful.
right there, right? That's game right there.
But like he said, don't be scared to invest in your own future, meaning that mentorship or whatever kind of program or whatever is out there. Invest in it because you're going to be able to benefit from it in the future.
And that's why I love your platform with what you've created with Stats Global and this podcast is because you're bringing individuals who are doing the work, who are in the trenches, who are growing and learning in this entrepreneurial space, no matter whether it's from music to mental health to whatever it may be, to athletics. You're providing a platform to be able to give that game away and for individuals to be able to latch on to it. Now, everybody's not going to listen to this information that's been given, or even if it's not straight up information, just to hear the stories of people who are doing the things that you guys want to do, it can be invaluable because a lot of times when people are chasing these things, people can assume that they didn't have it difficult or didn't have to go through anything or it just was given to them overnight, when a lot of us have stories and things that we just decided to not quit. All right. And then that's the essence of getting what you want. Anything worth having isn't going to be easy. So again, that's why I really appreciate this platform, having me on it, to be able to share any of this information.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on. The main thing that I like when I sit down, I like to tell, my listeners and everybody out there that watches and listens is because the power of your circle and your network. Network is your net worth, right? Your network is your net worth, and it's very important. Everybody I'm sitting down with that I sit down with has been a part of my journey of some shape or fashion that I met along my path. And for them to say, yes, I'll come on your podcast means a lot to me, which shows that I've, maintained a good reputation. I made an impact in that moment where they remember me. And whether it was a long period of time or a short period of time, they're able to say, yes, I'll come on and do your podcast. And that itself right there, it shows the growth that I have. And, like I said, it's really important. Like I talk to my students in class, reputation is everything. Who you are now, you want to make sure it is remembered 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 5 months from now. So had I met him 4 years ago, even though the space that I was in mentally wasn't the best, I still put my best foot forward where it established that relationship and it maintained, and it's gotten a whole lot better since then, and it's grown expeditiously, tremendously. Like I said, I would not be where I am. I'm not gonna speak on it because I get emotional when I keep speaking on where I am. So, but back to your plays of life. So when you talk about the plays of life, like two of the ones that helped me, if you have to do it, why not be great at it? Like stuck with me in the beginning, early on, and I know I'm trying to think what it did. It made me say it to my students all the time, right? I spoke to my students all the time. I'm like, look, we're in here because school is tough, and it's almost like they hate the classroom. So I said, listen, when I heard you tell me you had to do one, I'd be great. I'm like, all right, what does this mean? And I'm like, okay, I get it. But I'm an adult. I'm in a profession. I'm a professional, and I'm also, in entrepreneurship, so I get it. But for the students to get it, I feel like it's a very impactful statement. If you have to do it, why not be great at it? You have to come to school. Every state says you have to graduate high school, which means there's no way around it. Like, even getting a GED is still school. You have to do it and show that you completed high school, or school in general. So you have to do it. Why not be great at it? Why not put your best foot forward if you have to come here for 12 years, 180 days a year, 8 hours a day? Like, it's no way around it. So I'm like, that just makes sense. It's like, it's common sense. It's really straightforward. And I really hope that all the students that heard me say that to them and, they're listening now, I hope they get it. I hope they get it. Like, it makes sense. And the one that I use for me personally is control what you can control. I know last year was really tough for me personally, and that's all I kept saying, control what you can control. That's it. Like, everything. And then I found myself, like, other people being drawn to me saying, hey, just pouring out their problems, just instantly just like talking. It went from how you doing? That one question led to 20 minutes of them talking about how they doing and what all was going on. And all I could think of was control what you can control. Because like you said, the issues that they were having were out of their control, but that's what the focus is on. So they're not able to get past it because they're focusing on what they can't control. So I said, control what you can control. And So far, so good for the people that I've come in contact with that. But even with what I was dealing with, I'm like, look, I'm gonna control what I can control. And now, fast forward to now, with this amazing transformation I'm going through right now, I have to control what I can control.
Because if you try to focus on anything outside of that, life gets too overwhelming,
Mm-hmm.
right? Control your thoughts, control your reactions to your thoughts, right? It's not much when you really break it down that you really have control over, right? Um, Life and society can give us this facade of that we had all of this control when really it's just your thoughts, how you respond to your thoughts, um, and what you do with that information. That's really all we have control over. So the more you can focus on that, then the better. And just to go back to if you have to do it, why not be great at it as well? Um, that really started. I remember how I worked at Dairy Queen. I was Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen was my first job, and I remember when I was younger. Uh, Even back then, I thought I was going to be a preacher, but I wanted to speak and I wanted to talk. But I did not like my first job at Dairy Queen. I was happy I had a job, but I wasn't a fan of it. And I remember one day I said, how can I make the most of this opportunity and find a way to get better? Because of course I wanted to be at practice. I wanted to be hanging out with my friends. So if I had to be here, what could I improve? So I remember I wanted to speak, and one of the biggest things that I remember this opportunity to speak in drive through as my first speaking engagement. So I remember looking at having the headset on, acting like I was speaking on stage and just trying to change people's life from the time when they ordered their food to the time they picked it up at the window. And I remember it said, if I can get a smile on someone's face from the drive up where they ordered from the menu to when they left my drive through window, then I've done my job. And I remember that's where that thing kind of started. Was anything, I'm going to treat it like the only thing, right? And if you do that, then I promise you your whole mindset about anything is going to transform. If I got to go through this situation, then why not be great at it? Why not grow through it? Why not learn something? Why not get better as a result of it? Because life doesn't get easier; you get stronger, right? If more situations are coming around the corner, then if you practice that ability, then practice it now. And I've seen you um, embody that. And one of the biggest things that we used to talk about, if you don't mind me sharing, was decision making
Yes,
and making
I was gonna
decisions,
bring it up. Yes.
right? And I think the a lot of the issues, a lot of the uncertainty, the depression, the anxiety at the base level usually starts when you're in limbo, when you aren't able to make a decision. The more you're able to make decisions, yes, it's scary. Yes, it could be the right or the wrong decision. No one knows, but the purpose is to make a decision and to learn from that decision. And then if I'm deciding between this way or that way, if I go this way and I find out this ain't the right way, the cool thing about it is all you gotta do is turn around and
Exactly. Exactly. That's it. That's it. You know what's funny? You mentioned talking about being a preacher. A coach out here in the area that used to be at Fleming contacted me, about basketball stuff in the high school, and he was saying something. I was like, I was asking him about getting on the podcast, and I was like, and I was telling him about Motivated Game. Of course, I always talk about Motivated Game. Anybody I talk to, especially when they say they're in this area, I'm like, you know about Motivated Game, right? Like, you should if you. And he was like, yeah, I heard of it. It was like, and I said, yeah, Coach Brooks. Well, Daniel Brooks. I be saying Coach Brooks when I'm like, it's a common name. I'm like Daniel Brooks. Like yeah. And then he said, yeah, the guy used to want to be a preacher. What is a preacher? I said, a preacher. I said, nah. I mean, motivational speaker, maybe. I said mental health. He said a preacher. I was like, nah. I don't. I mean, I said I'm not sure back then, but I was saying now. He's the CEO of Motivate the Game and motivational speaker. And he was like, yeah. He said, and then what's the guy from that you were doing the other, like what y'all do the podcast with, the Humble Hustle. He said
Xavier,
that he said, was he with he called him something else though. He called him something else. Like I said, I'm not
Ducky.
from here, so I think that's what he said.
Last name,
So he was like, yeah, and I was like, oh yeah. I said that's him. He's like, yeah, I know who he is. I was like, you got to check out Motivate the Game.
Wow,
you have to check out Motivate the Game. But the preacher story was, I didn't, but I can see it when he said it. I'm like, I don't remember you saying that, but I can definitely see it.
When I was younger, first of all, I was 3 years old and saying my own prayers in front of the whole church.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
From a child, I've always loved prayer, and I've always saw the power of prayer. So then you fast forward, and I remember being around 11 or 12, and we go. Mind you, we was in church all the time, and we go to some random church with some pastor. We were there, and I'm in the back. Being a little 11, 12 year old, I'm in the back. We've been in church all day. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not bringing no attention to myself, but I'm just kind of in the back of the room, kind of paying attention. But just there are all these other young people. It's like a youth service, and out of the blue, this pastor I never met tells me out of everybody, stand up. All right, stand up. And I stand up in front of the whole church, and he begins to prophesy, and he begins to tell me that my future is going to be filled with being a fisher of men, and bringing people to Christ, and being able to help a lot of people and transform a lot of lives, and just telling me, no matter what I've been through. And from that moment, I got dubbed as little preacher, and I've done sermons and done those things, but I feel like, and again, my faith is very, very strong, but I felt like I wanted my ministry to be mobile, right? I wanted my ministry to have legs,
Yes.
so therefore that's where Motivate the Game and good counsel and therapy came to life. Is that I feel like my work is my worship, so I'm able to put my ministry in motion by bringing it to these different schools, to these
Yes.
different individuals. And even though it incorporates mental health, it still has the principles and the basis of my spirituality and my faith.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So before we transition to my to the mental health side of it, like you mentioned mentorship earlier as a topic, but you also said the mentors as you came up. It's like, who were some of the most impactful mentors you had?
Wow, 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 wow. That's great. So of course, I play football, so I don't want to miss anyone. But I guess just the ones that come primarily to mind. Number one, just in my family, my uncle David. He was an athlete growing up, so I used to get to be able to see him and watch him, and he always took time to hang out with me. But then after that, my high school head football coach, Coach Billy Miles, who's a legend here in Salem, um, he was phenomenal and integral in kind of just my discipline, but most importantly, I still call him my father till today. He was my position coach, playing football, Coach Millard Vining. Um, he literally transformed my life. Right, I was a 14-year-old. I had never played football before, and he saw. Well, I played the year before, but it was like for the little intramural thing at school. And then ninth grade, I come out, and he heard I was a quarterback, and the first thing he said to me was, "I'm gonna change the way you talk, the way you think, the way you carry yourself." And I'm like, "Who is this?" And he's short, right? Yeah, he's short. He's like 5'5". This little short dude. Even with him being with that short stature, he played professional football. He played arena football at the highest level. He was able to have all these trials. So I saw this man who had this discipline, and I've always been a sponge. So anybody, like literally, I learned because my mother, my father, and people wasn't in my life. So I always had to learn from everybody else. So just instantly, he always spoke in quotes and all this thing. Similar to I say it all the time, and he knows this. I hope he doesn't get me for copyright infringement, because a lot of the things that I have in place were based on some of the principles and some of the things that he taught me. But he was the first person who told me I could be a leader, and I was a leader. He saw greatness in me. He spoke to me as if I was already great. He was the individual who took me on all my college visits. Right, nobody in my family had ever been to
Wow.
college. Right, so he took me on these visits. He showed me what was possible. He exposed me to a lot of things. So I would be, I don't know where I would be without him recognizing and noticing those things about me. Coach Miller Vining, I love you. I'm forever grateful for you, and he knows that. He's still, my son calls him Grandpa to
Okay.
this day.
Okay.
I'm super thankful for he's done this for countless hundreds of players, but I just know for me, and ironically enough, me and his biological son have the same birthday on
Oh
Halloween. What's the chance?
wow.
Now, mind you, I'm older than him, but what's the chance of that we were both
Wow.
born on Halloween?
Wow.
But it's just he was he was like he was so integral in my life. And now, mind you, I've had so many more people who I just feel as if when you have a purpose, when God has placed a purpose in your life, He's always going to send people to help to carry that purpose out. Now it's up to you to recognize them and to take heed to it. And I've been fortunate enough that at every part of my journey, God has sent people, and I've been able to recognize the importance of those mentors and those people. Even with start and motivate the game. Mr. Nate Day, he was integral in helping me turn this thing from an idea to a business, right? And even when living in Atlanta, Shantae and Renee, they saw something great in me, and even when things are falling apart out there, they took it upon themselves to help me to get on my feet, right? So it's countless other people, right? Please, I don't want anybody to hold this against me for not remembering, but it's countless other people um, who saw things in me. My wife, right? Shout out to my wife. She um, 12 years ago, she when we met, she really um, called the man out of the boy that I, because we all go through those situations where we're trying to find ourselves, and she um, saw me for who I was, and not who I was portraying, and that was huge, and she was integral in really helping me to grow into being the husband and becoming the man and the father that I am. So it's just so many people have been a part of my journey and pouring into them. So the only way that I can give back to all those individuals is to keep going, right? And to keep creating and to keep using the things that they place inside of me to be able to make other people's lives better.
That's amazing. That shows that those are some very powerful, impactful people in your
Absolutely,
life to
absolutely,
help you become who you are. Because I needed you to be, I
yeah,
needed you to be where
absolutely,
you are right now.
absolutely. And I'll say that, and I know we got to wrap up in a second, but I feel as if there's someone somewhere is waiting for you to get in position. Right? There's someone somewhere. So if I hadn't have gotten the help that I needed and the people that I needed and kept going, and I wouldn't even be in this situation now. So I'm challenging all of you to that if you don't work to become who you're supposed to become, then the person's path that you're supposed to cross that will help them become who they're supposed to be will never happen. That's how we change this thing. That's how we impact the world, is that you got to get in position first, right? You got to get, recognize your gifts and your power so that when you get in that position, all you have to do is be able to pay it forward and inspire those and other people around you.
Most definitely. I couldn't agree more, which is why I am doing that. Like I am not going to, but I am. So really, like you mentioned, good counsel and motivated game both, which means that that's twofold, right? So and also mental health. Like I mean, again, our initial contact was you as my therapist, which shows that, and then now as the founder of Motivated Game, I'm a coach under your leadership. So what's good counsel and motivate the game? Like, what do you do as far as like the mental health side of things?
So with Good Counsel started back in 2020. That was kind of the first my first baby. I noticed during COVID, everybody was forced to sit with themselves, right? So as a result, mental health issues skyrocketed because people didn't have the distractions to be able to distract themselves from working on things that they had already always needed to work on. So Good Counsel just simply started as a website where people could go to that website and be able to put in an inquiry to set up a phone call with me just to ask questions about therapy. And then I would help them get connected to a therapist because I wasn't even licensed at the time. So all I did was I did my due diligence to help people learn, ask questions, and understand about therapy. And then now Good Counsel grew into, once I got licensed, more of the traditional therapy side of things, right? So we, within Good Counsel is the umbrella, right? Good Counsel is the parent company to Motivate the Game. So there's three pillars under Good Counsel. You have education, right, where we travel and we educate individuals about the importance of mental health. Then you have connection, right? We help individuals to get connected to mental health. We help them to Just through different events or different camps and things of that nature, we provide that connective ability to help individuals get connected to mental health services. And then lastly is innovation. And Motivate the Game falls under the innovation pillar of Good Counsel, where we're going to innovate all different forms of mental health. So right now we have what's called Motivate the Game, is therapeutic sports training. Then we have under that same innovation pillar is Genius Motivation, which is therapeutic gaming, right? So all these innovative different types of way to bring therapy and therapeutic support to individuals. I have so many other things in the making. I have coaching in cars. I love cars, so I want to bring together my car love with therapeutic support and coaching, and bringing those things together. There's so many different things that are written down that are going to come under that innovation piece, that we're going to be able to transform the world. Because I feel like if I can create one way, one form of support, and it helps one person, then it was worth it. Right? I don't care if only one person came to therapeutic sports training; they would have went to therapy, but they got the information now, and their life transformed. That's all it was for. But now, the goal is to continue to go into these places, because again, when talking about my faith, Jesus didn't just stay in the church, right? He went to the people, and he used parables and analogies and metaphors to be able to help people to learn. So I'm not saying I'm Jesus by any way in any stance, but I am saying that that same way of teaching is what I embody here, and being able to come up with different ways to really, like I said earlier, meet people where they are.
Wow. Wow. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. Those three words you said, innovate was last, then it was connect. What was the first word?
And educate.
Educate. Educate.
Education, connection, and innovation.
Ooh.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So Motivate the
Wow.
Game is just a small but powerful piece of this whole puzzle, right? That's why, this is something that I'm working on. You Motivate the Game really being able to run it on its own, but God has so much more for me to do, and eventually I might not see me just on the Motivate the Game side, because there's so many more lives and many more people that God's called me to be able to help them to mentally elevate. Because again, when we think about faith, I'm a firm believer that, you know whatever you believe, whatever higher being, but if you can't believe the promises and that your future is brighter than your today, then there's something that's stopping you from being able to believe that, and that's your mental health, right? So if your mental health can be improved, then you can be able to accept the growth, the changes, the promises that have been given to you. So if you can't believe in yourself, then that's a mental health related thing that we need to work on it, so you can believe in yourself.
Wow. Wow,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
couldn't. Wow, I couldn't have said it better. I wasn't gonna try to
Absolutely,
say it better because that's
absolutely,
not that's not my
absolutely,
lane. But I
absolutely.
love it, man. You're right. I wouldn't be sitting here today with this podcast had it not been for me working on my mental health and working on becoming a better version of myself. The path that I came across with you and being able to be where I am is phenomenal. Like,
That
and
means a
there's
lot.
more greatness to come for sure.
Absolutely, so much more. We're just getting started. We're just
Mm-hmm.
scratching the surface. We're
Mm-hmm.
just figuring out this thing. It's only been 5 years, and I'm still learning so much about myself, unpacking so much of even what God has given me, because it's so much, when you're given a gift, it's so much in that box that you got to figure out how to put it together, right? That's the thing. When you're given this gift, it isn't given to you already put together, right? It's just like if you get anything on Christmas, you got to, take it out the box, then you got to put it together. And that's what we're in the process of doing, is we're putting this thing together of what it looks like, and how can we really impact lives and be able to inspire people to become the best versions of themselves.
Most definitely. Can you do me a favor? Because I like to hear it and I love to hear it. And I just feel like it's really, really, really important. The summary of your story that you give when we're doing our school takeovers to the youth is
Yeah.
very powerful. If you don't mind,
Yeah,
could
yeah,
you
yeah,
could you
yeah,
share
yeah,
that
yeah,
story?
yeah, yeah. So, I was born prematurely. My mother struggled with drug addiction. My father did as well. So after I was born prematurely, I was born with a lot of ailments. I had seizures from a young age. I stuttered majority of my early childhood. Um, my grandmother told me the story of when I was two. I was with my father for whatever reason, and I was lived deep in the country. And my father comes up to my crib. I was supposed to be taking a nap, and he comes into the crib, and he sees a snake wrapped around my neck, and I'm blue, right? I got the tattoo on my leg, and I'm blue, and I'm gone. He said, you know, my father told me this later that I wasn't breathing, so he picks me up, rips the snake off, then he looks over on the crib. There's another snake that was about to come into the crib, and my father said, you know, he wasn't, he's never really been a super spiritual man, but he said he prayed that day and yelled out, and I took a deep breath. So from early childhood, the enemy's been trying to stop me. So fast forward, get an opportunity to start to play sports and play football. Was one of the first black quarterbacks in my town. Got a chance to be the first person in my family to go to college, and just overcame a lot, but I never processed or talked about those things. My mother got sentenced to prison, was in and out of prison throughout my life. My father wasn't in my life for whatever reason. I'm still working on those relationships with those individuals now, but from an early age, the enemy tried to stop me, and now I see why. I see why the impact and what my purpose was and what I was supposed to be doing. So from an early age, and again, I'm not saying my story is any worse than anyone else because we all got a story, right? But I think there's power in telling your story and sharing your story because um, when you can share it, then it doesn't have power over you, and the enemy doesn't have power over your thoughts. And by me sharing it, I've been able to help a lot of people understand, you know, where my passion comes from, but also the things that I've been able to overcome. That doesn't make me any better or any worse than anyone else, but it does make us all human and make us connected. So I think being able to share that story and share those parts are super important because um, I don't look like what I've been through.
Wow.
And I think that that's a goal in life is that if you can make it through it and you can accomplish amazing things and then you tell people what you've gone through, I think that that's a part of that inspiration of helping people to kind of keep
Oh
going.
yeah. Oh yeah. Impactful, powerful, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it touches people, like you say. Your story. If you don't share it, and you don't know who's meant to hear it to help them, and it definitely it helps me every time I hear it. Even though I'm able to hear it a whole lot more than you all, but I hear it, pretty often, and each time it still does something. Each time I hear your story. But what's something you want to leave with the people?
Um, hmm.
Some
Okay.
things. It doesn't have to be
Yeah,
one
yeah, yeah.
thing, but
No,
what's
no, no,
some
no.
things you want to leave with the people?
Um, Number one, if you haven't heard the theme, but your mental health is important, right? How you think, your relationships, your interactions with the world is super important. So, um, if you were to, we all go through stuff, but if you were to break your toe or get sick and it was this major sickness, you wouldn't just talk to your friend about it. You would go get professional help, all right? And same thing with the stuff that you go through, right? It's all subjective, it's all objective based on our own upbringing. But don't think that your situation got to be as bad as mine is to get support, right? No matter what it is, if it affects you, then there's someone that can help you, right? And then lastly, as I always say, one of my favorite things just to tell people is just to keep going, right? Because the only way that what you're going through is ever going to make sense is if you keep going, right? If you stop now, then that's all you're going to remember in this version of your life. I don't care if you've been fired, you've been let go, you're struggling with something, you're struggling with addiction, you're struggling with loss, you're struggling with the breakup. The goal should be to keep going and figure out a way to keep going. Because if you keep going, then everything's gonna kind of, I don't want to say make sense to make light of what you're going through because it's tough, but it is going to have a purpose and going to serve a purpose, and you're going to be able to help a lot of people. So no matter what, find a way to pick yourself up and to keep going because if you got to go through whatever you're going through, you might as well get a reward for it,
Yes.
right?
Oh
You might as
yes.
well get something from all the stuff that you got to go through.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more, Coach.
Love
So
it.
where can we find you?
So hit me up on a main spot. I'm still, I guess, old school, but I'm still on Instagram. That's our main spot. You'll be able to see a lot of the stuff we do at motivate_the_game. You can email us at motivatethegame@gmail.com. Check out our website, motivatethegame.com. All things motivate the game. Just be on the lookout. This is the year of expansion within the company, so we're going to be expanding, hopefully coming to a place near you, and just trying to spread the gospel, so to speak, spread the word, spread the message, spread mental health to more people.
Oh yeah, very much impactful. And like you said, I kept stopping during certain parts because I told you I was getting a little emotional just speaking on the growth. So I'm not even gonna touch that again because I know it didn't come out, so it's still kind of there. However, I mean, again, amazing leader, founder, person, all the way around. Coach Daniel Brooks, Motivate the Game. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity with Motivate the Game, the opportunity to sit here with you now. Absolutely. And for you sitting here, I mean, you didn't have to sit here. You didn't have to take the time out. Again, it's a year of expansion, which means there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of other places you could be, but to be here spending this time means a lot to me at this moment.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And there's more to come. I'm gonna keep going. I ain't gonna let you down. I'm gonna keep
on
going.
Keep going.
And make sure that what you're doing and what your leadership is definitely working. So. It's been great, man.
I appreciate you more than you know. I'm super thankful. Let's keep this thing rolling. Let's keep going.
Oh, yeah. We're going to keep going. Hey, Stats Global on Instagram, Stats Global Podcast, and on Facebook at Stats Global Podcast. Y'all follow us. Check us out. And we're coming to a city near you as well. I'm all over. All right. We out.